I'll just do the procedures while we're waiting others to join.
Yeah.
And then you can start off with your welcome remarks and take the everything. Morning. Can we start, please? Can I have my slides, the election procedures, please? Do we have Ching Heng online? Ching Heng,
Yes,
the other co-chair.
yes,
Yeah, he's online. I can see him.
okay.
Okay, good morning again. I'm Sunny Chandy from APNIC Secretariat. Now, I'm going to go through the election procedures for the SIG elections, not the NRO-NC elections. These are the SIG elections. We have three chairs. As you can see, Bertrand is the chair and Saila is the co-chair, and the other co-chair, Ching Heng, is online. So his term is up for elections. Ching Heng's term is up for elections, and we have called for nominations. The nominations were open for a month from 8th of August to 6th of September. This is a 2-year term. Whoever is get elected will be serving this term from this conference, end of this conference, to 2024. That's APNIC 58. The nominations we received, I'm just focusing on the Policy SIG here. We have 2 nominations, Ching Heng Koo and Anupam Agarwal. Voting eligibility, it's registration and attendance of this conference on the day 1 of the conference and any of the past 8 conferences. If you have attended, participated, then you can participate in these elections. And you do that over the online. We have a big Pearl system. You can take part in the elections online. The voting will close on 1:30 p.m. today, and the elections will be declared at around 3 o'clock today in the member meeting. That's about it from me. Now I'll hand over to Bertrand, the chair of Policy SIG.
Thank you, Sunny. Welcome to the open policy meeting. Still people coming in. We'll start anyway. Can I have the SIG administration slide, please? Okay, thank you. Click.
Hello, everyone. I make the presentation about the Policy SIG administration. And my name is Ching Heng Koo, and I share the screen. Okay, the next page. And the Policy SIG, okay. The Policy SIG Charter is to develop policies which relate to the management and the use of internet number resources within the Asia Pacific region. These include policies for resource allocation, recovery and transfers, and for resource registration within whois, reverse DNS, RPKI, and the related services. Next page. Next page, please. Thanks. PDP working group was formed since 2021. It's about 1.5 years ago. Since Anita and Simon do a lot of efforts to chair this working group. Thanks the 34 participants from 14 economies work together to join many working group meetings and have a fruitful achievement. Among them, 7 proposals has been implemented. Currently, the group has served its purpose and will be closed. Next page. Before today's open policy meeting, we hold the policy proposals webinar on August 24 2025. Authors share and read out proposals for community feedback and comments. There are 36 members of the community join this webinar. It's very useful for the community and the authors to discuss questions and the comments. The community still has a strong interest to continue with this webinar. Next page. Today's agenda is shown here. After my presentation, Sunny will have policy implementation report. In the following, there are 4 new policy proposals will be discussed. Proposal 145 to 146 and 148. 2 proposals will be presented by Anupa, and the other ones will be presented by Jody. Next page. And the current PDP, as shown here, proposals should be submitted before the deadline. It will be sent to the Policy SIG mailing list for the discussion. In the APNIC meeting, the proposal need to be reach the consensus at the Policy SIG OPN, as well as at the member meetings. After the APNIC meeting, there are 8 weeks comment period for the feedback from the community. If there are no questions, EC will endorse the proposal, and the proposal will enter editorial comment period and implemented by APNIC Secretariat. Next page. The consensus decision making. Consensus means the general agreement taking into consideration comments on the mailing list and at the open policy meeting. There might have minor objection or major objection for the proposal. If you think the proposal will have major problems for parts of the community, please go to the mic and tell us your concerns. Participants should work together to resolve objections. In the discussion, please follow the code of conduct. Next page. Gauging consensus, chair will consider mailing list and the discussion at the open policy meeting. This time, they still have 2 online tools to present your opinions, room poll and confirm. Room poll will be enabled after each proposal presented and discussed, and will pop up on your screen. Once the consensus is closed, poll results will be displayed to all. At the same way before, RIR, ICANN, and the PTI secretarial staff do not participate in the consensus. Next page. About the confirm access, all registered attending can access confirm without creating a separate confirm account. You have already logged into the OPN. You can simply click on the confirm link to participate in the proposal consensus decision. Next page. These links provide for your reference. Next page. It's all my presentation. Thanks for your listening. The time go back to Bertrand.
Thank you, Ching-Heng. Now we carry on with the agenda. Can we have Sunny for the policy implementation report?
Thank you, Bertrand. Sunny again for policy hat on. Can I have my slides, please? Thank you. Okay, these are the policy implementations. We had 3 proposals at the last conference, and I'm just giving a status of the implementation of these 3 proposals. The Prop 142 Unified Transfer Policies text is a proposal to combine all the transfer policies from IPv4, IPv6, and AS number into one section to simplify the reference of those transfer policies and for comparison. So this proposal is implemented now, and it's a policy. The Prop 143 ASN to customer. If a customer receives an ASN, not directly from APNIC, but from a member or ISP, now the customer can transfer that to a different ISP. If they're moving from one ISP to the other ISP, they can take their AS number along with them, or they can transfer to within their own account and become an APNIC member or an AR member. This is also implemented now. Prop 144 reserve pool under experimental allocation policy suggested that we reserve a block of IPv4 addresses /21 for the future experimental allocations, and we have reserved 59.191.232.0/21 on 9th of July 2022. And as per the proposal, this will expire in 5 years. This has been implemented as well. So with the implementation of those three proposals, the main policy document is updated, and the current active version is APNIC 127.011 and absolute the previous version. You can find the latest policy document on that URL, or just go to APNIC website and go to the policy section. You'll find the link as well. And we'd like to thank you, those who proposed those proposals, the committee members who participated, and also the SIG chairs for their consensus calls as well. So thank you very much. And we hope, you continue improving the policies. And we have 4 proposals in this section here in this OPM. And good luck, chairs. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunny. I would like to extend a special thank to Amrita, who chaired the PDP working group. And now we'll let my co-chair present the first proposal for discussion today. Thank you.
Our first proposal, it will be presented by Anupam Agarwal, and it is proposal 145, single source for definition. Please, Anupam ji, come on the stage and present your proposal.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. This is proposal 145. The title of the proposal is single source of definitions. How do you go? So currently, as it is observed that there are definitions in multiple policy documents, say, for example, APNIC 127, 126, 128, and these definitions are cross-linked as well at times, and at times there is no reference at all. So just giving an example, the end site is defined in IPv6 guidelines, which is APNIC 114. It has got a very beautiful description, good amount of details. It has also bifurcated itself into what is single site, multiple sites, and it is also referring to section 2.9 of APNIC 127. However, when you go to APNIC 127, you don't find this reference going backwards and linking to APNIC 114. So these are some of the editorial changes which are being suggested here, and one major change. The objective is to just ensure that there is a single source of definition covering across all documents of APNIC. This is possibly not the case in other RIRs, so there is no point in looking there. So the proposed policy solution is very simple. It is asking to bring all the definitions into one single document. And when you look there, you will find that APNIC 080 is already a APNIC definition document, which has got some definitions covered. But currently the way it is that definitions are scattered across various documents. So the proposal is to bring all those definitions at one single place. The advantages is very simple in terms of all the people who are using the policy can refer to one single document. There is no perceived disadvantage of this proposal. There is no impact on resource holders. There is no impact. There is no reference for this. This is the Secretariat Impact Assessment Report for your perusal. Thank you.
Thanks, Anupam ji. Please stand over here. No, just stand here. For this proposal 145, we have posted this proposal on the mailing list on August 11. And from then we have received one comment through the mailing list, and it was from Japan Open Policy Forum, and they have almost Japanese community. They have expressed in favor of this proposal, and they have posted a comment through the mailing list. I'm going to read it. As pointed out by the author, I support combining the definitions into ethnic 80 to ensure uniqueness of the term. And for the attendees, do you have any comment or support, or if you want to express your views, the mic is open for you. Does this proposal, just during the comment, please keep that in your mind, that does this proposal solve any of your problems, or does it have any disadvantage, or is there anything that is not clear to you? You can come to the mic and ask to the author. Do anyone has any comment? I guess we have one.
Yes, for any organization to run efficiently.
Excuse me,
this is
please.
Parhar from India, ISPI. For any organization to run a good administration and effectively, the definitions is the very start of any documentation. So the proposal which has been brought forward by Anupam is a step in that direction. It's a well thought out proposal, and I am sure it will make a difference in when we get the definitions into one single place, all which will be used all across all documents. It makes things easier to understand as well as to administer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prahar.
Thank you. Do we have any other comment? Ching Hang, is there any comment in the Zoom chat?
And no, there is no any comments on the room chat.
Okay.
If there are no further comments, we will now call for consensus. As a reminder, this is not a vote. You are supposed to express yourself to strongly support, being neutral, oppose, or strongly oppose. If you strongly oppose, you'll have to step up and explain why. So we'll do it with a show of hand. So those of you who strongly support this proposal, please raise your hand. Thank you. Those of you who support this proposal, please raise your hand. Those of you who are neutral. Thank you. Those of you who oppose this proposal, please raise your hand. That's good. And those of you who strongly oppose this proposal? Thank you all. After talking with my co-chairs, we can let you know that this proposal has reached consensus at the OPM. Thank you, Anupam.
Thank you.
We have another proposal, Prop 146, that will also be presented by Anupam Agarwal. And the proposal is aligning the contrast. Please carry on.
Can I have my slides? Yeah. Okay, this is proposal 146. The heading of the proposal is aligning the contrast. The reason for choosing such a heading is that there are some contrasting things which was observed, and it is a proposal to clear that out. So the problem statement is very simple. Section 3 of APNIC 127 has got two main broad high-level sections. Section 3.1 talks about goals of resource management. 3.2 talks about the policy environment. Now, if you look at section 3.1, it has got again sub 8 sections, starting from 3.1.1 to 3.1.8. But where I would like to bring your attention is 3.1.4. The heading is no guarantee of contiguous delegation. Now, the goal of the policy cannot be have no guarantee. So if you look at the description of the section, the idea is that there will be an attempt by APNIC to have a contiguous delegation, but there is an exception to that, that possibly it might not be possible to give a guarantee that there is going to be a contiguous delegation. So, but the exception has become the heading, and that is what the contrast I am talking about. If you look at section 3.1.8, the heading is conflict of goals. Now, the goals of resource management cannot be conflict of goals. It is something which has again crept up because the idea was to remove the conflict of goals, not having the conflict of goals as the main goal. So this is again what was appearing as the contrast. So this is again what I talked about, what is happening here. The objective of this policy is to simply change the wordings to ensure that what is the intent gets reflected. The proposed policy solution is 3.1.4 be named from no guarantee of contiguous delegation to contiguous delegation, and 3.1.8 be renamed from conflict of goals to balancing the goals. So we could have left it here. But when you look at 3.1.8 into the description and into the text, this is what is exactly there. There are three different sections, paragraphs. The first paragraph talks about the goals described above will often conflict with each other or with the needs of individual IRs or end users. All IRs evaluating requests for address space must make judgments seeking to balance the needs of applicant with the need of the internet community. So this is what the balancing is all about. But the entire text, the principle of this entire text is already covered in section 3.0, where it is said that responsible management involves balancing a set of sometimes competing goals. So possibly this section, this paragraph itself is not required. Now, if you move to the second paragraph which exists there, this document is intended to help IRs perform their role in consistent and equitable ways. IRs must maintain full documentation of and transparency within the decision-making process. The suggestion here is that this opening section 3.0, this particular paragraph can be moved up there. And the third paragraph is in IPv6 address policy, the goal of aggregation is considered to be the most important. And so already there is section 3.1.3, which talks about the aggregation. So this particular paragraph can also be moved into 3.1.3. So essentially what the suggestion here is that we can deprecate the entire 3.1.8. It is not required because the opening paragraph is already taken care of. The second paragraph can be moved to the opening 3.0 and the third can be moved to 3.1.3. The advantages is simply the contrasting things which are there. It needs to be streamlined and remove the contrast which exists. And there is no impact on resource holders and there are no references. Thank you.
Thank you, Anupam ji.
Thank you.
We have posted this proposal via mailing list on August 11. And since then, we have received one comment from Japan Open Policy Forum. And yes, they have shared their feedback in a short form. And based on the meeting on 29th August, they discussed this proposal over there. And they said that many neutral opinions were expressed about this proposal. And they have mentioned a comment. And the comment is, I understand that there are some divergence between the title and its content, but I don't see the need to change this title. This is expressed through the mailing list. And for the attendees, if you have any comment or if there is anything that you are not clear about this proposal, you can come to the mic and the floor is yours. Is there any comment? Ching Heng, is there any comment in the Zoom chat?
No, there is no any comments on the room chat.
Okay, I can see that there is no comment from the attendees or in the Zoom chat button.
So if there's no comment, we are going to call for consensus. Again, this is not a vote. And we've got one comment, please.
Parhar from ISPI. I just wanted a little piece of information. What are the comments of the APNIC administration on this? Any legal issues or any other comments?
Jeremy Harrison, I'm Senior Legal Counsel at APNIC. No, there's no material legal issues with the proposal as presented.
Close to the mic.
Oh, sorry. My name's Jeremy Harrison. I'm the Senior Legal Counsel at APNIC. There are no material legal issues we've identified with the proposal.
Okay, if there's no more comments, well, the consensus call has already started on Paul and Confer, so we're going to call for the consensus in the room. So it's not a vote. And those in strong support of this proposal, please raise your hand. Thank you. Those supporting this proposal, please raise your hand. Thank you. Those neutral to this proposal, please raise your hand. Oh. Thank you. And those opposing this proposal, please raise your hand. And those strongly opposing this proposal, please raise your hand. Thank you. I'm seeing strongly opposing people on the Zoom chat. Are there any explanation, Ching Heng? Any comments?
There's no anyone leave the comment on the room chat.
Thank you. Therefore, we cannot take into account the strongly opposition on the Zoom chat. Okay, so this proposal has reached consensus, and Aftab has a comment. Please, Aftab.
There is another mic on the front. Aftabji.
Is it working? Yeah. Aftab Siddiqui from Aftab Siddiqui. I think we agreed last time that the Zoom polling should not be allowed, if I'm not mistaken.
It's just another tool that
It gives a very wrong picture. I'm not sure if people are strongly opposing it, why they're not showing up on Confirm when it is verifiable information. And if they are opposing it, then why can't they provide information?
during the online events, we've seen many strong opposition resulting of misleading click. And because no one expressed itself on the chat and no one raised a hand to talk, therefore we don't take into account the strong opposition. We just use it as opposition standard.
Yeah, it's the chair's, it's up to the chair. We can't comment on I cannot comment on that, but I would strongly encourage not to use this tool. There are 37 people who are strongly opposing it, 15 people, if I can read it correctly, opposing it, which doesn't make any sense.
Agreed. But it's just another tool. It's not a vote, so we're not counting really the number of people. It's just an extra tool to gauge consensus. And thank you for your comments. Sorry, just to be clear, this proposal reached consensus. Thank you, Anupam.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Is Jordi online? I think he is. Yes, he is. So now Jordi is going to present us the Prop 147, Historical Resources Management. Jordi, when you're ready.
Yeah, I am just sharing the slides. Can you see my slides? Can you confirm, please?
If you want, we can just share the slide from here, and I'll be clicking the little box.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, next slide, please. So the problem statement is about section 4.2.1, which is updated and only looking for very old non-routed resources. There is a recent resolution from the EC from 22nd February 2022 that imply that historical resource holders in the region will need to become members or non-members by 1st January next year in order to receive registration services. If they fail to do this, historical resource registration will no longer be published in the APNIC whois database, and those resources will be placed into reserved status. Given the continued need for IPv4 addresses, it will seem illogical to the authors to keep these unused historical resources in reserved indefinitely, which is the immediate consequence of the EC resolution. Alternatively, the resources can be used in a way that is sufficiently justified in accordance with the existing policies, allowing other organizations to benefit from them during the IPv6 transition. Next slide, please. So, objective of the policy change: ensure that historical resources are justified and claimed, or that they are available for other organizations that require them. If the resources are marked as reserved, the original holders may reclaim them with a valid justification when APNIC failed to contact them for whatever reason. An example of a valid justification is the case where an organization is actually not routing the resources but using them internally. So this is perfectly valid. The objective is also to give the original resource holders more time to reclaim them instead of just until 1st of January of the next year. And we are proposing a time frame of 1 additional year. Next, please. In other regions, legacy resources lose their legacy status when the RSA is signed upon receiving other resources, for example. So they become under the regular monitoring. In other cases, there is nothing specified by policy. So there is different, let's say, situations according across different regions. Next one, please. So the solution that we are proposing is to remove section 4.2.1, and then next slide, please. Have a new section 4.3, which is historical resource management. Historical resources that have not been claimed by the custodians will be deleted from the APNIC whois database after 1st January 2023 and marked as reserved. As you can see, this is matching the EC resolution. Historical resources marked as reserved have an additional 12 months to be claimed by the custodians, and after that, APNIC will add those resources to the free pool for redelegation. In addition to that, from January 1st, 2023, all historical resources need to be maintained in the current APNIC, in a current APNIC account. In the event of an account closure, the historical resource will be placed in a quarantine period and then made available for redelegation similar to current resources. So as you can see in this proposed solution, in addition to delete section 4.2.1, we are just ensuring consistency with the EC resolution and giving an additional 12 months for the claiming by the custodians. And we change the situation where the resources will be in reserved state indefinitely. Okay, so that's the key point of the proposal. Next one, please. So of course, the advantage of the proposal is fulfilling the objective that we have indicated. Next one. There is not disadvantages that we have perceived from the proposal. And next one. There is no impact on resource holders. And I think that's my last slide, if I am not mistaken.
True.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jordi. This proposal is led with lots of talking on the mailing list. So the floor is yours if you have questions or comments on Jordi's proposal.
Aftab Siddiqui. The question is to the Secretariat, can they provide, they have provided this information via email, can they provide this again here, that they have used all means and how many times to contact the existing resource holder of this legacy space in the region?
Carla Scada, Services Director for APNIC. Thanks, Aftab. So we are still in the process of contacting the resource holders, but as we have stated clearly online in the chats, that we will not revoke any resources that we are busy having discussions with the resource holders, or the particularly the ones that are routed. Or we are talking to either them directly or to their upstream. So we're not going to be just shutting off people on the 31st of December 2022. Does that clarify? Yes. So we have already, just to let you know what we've done in the past, we have reached out to all of the resource holders based on the information that we have available, understanding that a lot of that information in some cases is 20 years old. So we are yet to have a response from a vast majority of those resource holders, but we are continuing to pursue all means to contact them, and we'll do so until such time as we actually get a response.
Thank you. There's one hand raised on the Zoom. Ching Heng, can you give voice to this person, please?
Good afternoon. Brett O'Hara from FJ Networking. So I'm generally in supporting of this proposal. The one thing that, based on Vivek's comments on list on Tuesday and Carla's comments just now, would be that in the first sentence of the proposed 4.3, I'd like to suggest the change of a word from the custodian will be deleted from the APNIC database should be changed to the custodian may be deleted from the APNIC database after January 1st, just to reflect that it's not a compulsory action on the 1st of January. Thank you.
I have a doubt on this because we have already the EC resolution. So if we change it to may, is not that contradictory with the EC resolution? Maybe it's a question for the Secretariat. Otherwise, from the perspective of the authors, it will be fine, and I guess it can be accepted as part of the last call.
Hi, Jordi, Sanjeev here. No particular affiliation. I have a question which is actually a two-part. I'm trying to work out the use example. I'm someone who got an allocation, hypothetically, in 1994 from Mr. Postel, and I've never been a member of an RIR. I'm not a member of APNIC, although I reside in Singapore, hypothetically. My understanding of the current status is that if I do not contact APNIC and APNIC does not contact me, the allocation will be placed in a reserved status, whatever that means. That's the question, Secretary. Is my understanding correct? If I don't call you and you don't call me on 1st Jan, it will go into a reserved status? So, yes.
Yes, provided we have had absolutely no contact from either you or your upstream or anyone connected with that routed space. Yes.
Thank you. So that's the first part. Now, my second part is trying to figure out how this proposal changes my status. So till 1st Jan, anyway, it changes nothing for me, right? I'm unknown to APNIC. I stay unknown to APNIC. I continue doing whatever I need to do. After 1st Jan, suppose I was not to reply to your emails, right? You might have a defunct email address on record, or I may just be too lazy or not getting around to it. In the current situation, explicitly what happens? You would put me in the reserved list, and a year or 2 or 3 from now, you might reallocate me to someone, reallocate the resource to someone else? May. I'm trying to work this out with a solved
I understand,
example.
yes. So currently it will go into reserved status, but there is no instruction on what further with that.
Could I respond to that as well?
Yes.
Okay, my understanding is that if we don't accept this proposal, those resources will be put in reserved status forever, unless in the future there is a new policy that changes that. So what we are trying to address it is to fix that already for now, and giving you already 1 extra year for claiming the resources.
That's correct, yes.
They will go into a reserved status in APNIC's database. But from my operational point of view, nothing has changed if this proposal does not pass, right?
Well, there is a change because as APNIC has confirmed in the mailing list, after 7 days, if I recall correctly, it will go to the AS0 as well. So you may have problem routing the resources to whoever is using the AS0.
Understood.
So you lose some reachability probably.
Right. Now, if this proposal was to pass, again, staying with the same use case, if this proposal was to be, and the Secretariat was to implement this prior to 31st December, and they contacted me, because I think we are settled on the fact that they cannot contact me, we know what happens, and they contact me, and I do not wish to become an APNIC member, what happens? Does APNIC still, assuming this proposal passes, what does the Secretariat do? Does the Secretariat then, in a year or 2, or whenever pressure grows on the final /8, will they allocate it to someone? If the proposal was to pass.
Yeah. If the space is already routed, then we obviously can't reroute it. Or reallocate it, yeah.
Thanks. Thank you.
Can I say something else? If I understand correctly, the easy resolution said that the resource holder in the APNIC region will need to become members or non-members. And we are not changing that in the proposal. So that situation is not changing. Okay, so you don't really need to become a member. It seems that there is the choice to be a non-member. Maybe somebody from the staff can clarify what exactly that means, so everybody understands the point.
You want to jump? Yep. Okay, sorry. Craig Ng, APNIC General Counsel. That is correct. So you need to be either a member or a non-member, but you need to enter into a membership or non-membership agreement with APNIC in order to continue to receive services.
Thank you. On this first.
Yep. Parhar from ISPI. I just wanted to know from the staff that by end of the year, are they hopeful of contacting all the organizations or people who are having such address space?
Sorry. Sure. Excuse me. I think I need a separate microphone. The answer to that is yes. We have already contacted those that are routed again. The majority of them at least once, or we have contacted their upstream to assist us with making contact with them. So we are confident that we will complete the project.
Coming to further, since the staff has been reasonably successful in contacting the required people, that means that there is chances of recovery of a lot of this address space, which can be used. And keeping this in view, I find that this proposal does give an opportunity still for another year to people to reclaim it if they wish to. Otherwise, I think it is in the right direction that at least this address space in this day of need and scarcity will come back into the APNIC's free pool for redelegation.
That was the idea, that we can recover or already decide to recover some of these resources for people that need that.
We've got one comment from Zoom. Jing Heng, please.
And the Gara has and the Bright has the opinions. Could Gara can talk to your opinions?
Hi everyone, thanks Jing Heng, thanks Partha. I think what I see Kenny is there and we may be about to say the same thing. So Kenny, do you want to go up before I speak up?
You can just clarify, and actually some of the points already been clarified by Craig.
Yeah, so I'm the chair of the EC, so I think there's been a lot of assumptions around EC said this or EC made a decision. What we should recognize here is the EC is basically trying to ease our ability to provide additional services to legacy holders. The status of the legacy holders will not change, they just don't get service. So in that sense, we reserve the ability to revoke that right or whatever in future. This does not, we do not want to take away the legacy rights holder right. They just don't get additional services anymore. And that the decision was made based on the feedback from our member survey that happened and multiple requests from a lot of legacy holders to facilitate them for getting RPKI services from APNIC. So that does not change. And I think trying to pigeonhole a decision through policy is not going to work. I can be, this will probably impact, as someone said on Zoom, and what was said earlier, is at this point, we have no intent on any address space that is routed or not routed to basically reallocate them to anyone. That is a decision we'll reserve for future once we actually know how much addresses are still out there and we have exhausted all that ability. I don't think there is a rush to corner that and bring it back, maybe in a few years' time in that area. So this setting the context here is we want to enable those who actually want to get additional services from APNIC for their legacy services to be able to get those by signing a non-member or a member agreement. And actually, if you read the EC resolution, the key point there was it was a fee decision. We basically said that we are not going to charge you a fee based on our current fee structure, and we'll keep honoring your legacy status there, which means that you don't pay the recurring monthly or recurring annual fees tied to the address size. So hope that clarifies to the audience here that the intent there is very different from what assumptions are being made on the EC decision. This is not a less of a reclamation exercise. It is, some of that is it, but but also there is very definitely a fee related structure there, and also we don't, if somebody got an address in 94 and they're using it in any way, we have no intention of stopping them from using them or even holding it forever. That is a must. I see Craig on the mic.
Craig, please.
Thank you.
Craig Ng, APNIC General Counsel. Just to supplement another factor that was relevant to the EC decision is that when a person enters into a membership or non-membership agreement with APNIC, it agrees to the terms and conditions. And one of those terms and conditions is a limitation of liability. So the EC, I think, is very keen to make sure that people have access to RPKI services, but RPKI services carry some risks for the organization APNIC. So it is very difficult to offer that services to someone that doesn't have any agreement with us in terms of liability. So that's another factor that the EC took into account, just to add to the consideration. Just in finishing off, I think someone had a suggestion to replace the will with may. From a legal perspective, we can live with that, and we don't believe that to be a conflict with the EC resolution. The EC resolution is to give APNIC the right to withdraw further services. It is not mandatory, it's a right that APNIC could exercise. So may would achieve the same outcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Kenny, please.
I think the point here is that if the chairs will allow in case the proposal passes the consensus, if the chairs will allow that change in the last call.
Okay, right, Kenny Huang, just for a record. Craig and Gara and Craig already state the key points, and EC passed a resolution, and APNIC APNIC Secretary already implement that policy and effectively starting from 1st January 2023. And without this policy, and that's the ongoing process. So the major difference will be the current practice from APNIC is they still try the best to contact address holder and try to get contact with them, make sure they have get a connection to the APNIC, and also have their membership right with the APNIC. And Craig also mentioned, because of if you don't have any contract relation with APNIC, it's very hard for APNIC to provide RPKI related service to non-member who doesn't have any contract with APNIC. So that already been addressed. Thank you.
Next, we've got Brett from Zoom, and then after your turn.
Hi again, Brett O'Hara from FJ Networking. So I'm just confirming that we are in agreement that we should change the wording in the first sentence from will to may, and that will allow per our APNIC friends the ability to do so, but doesn't require them to do so.
Thank you, Brett. Aftab.
Hi, Aftab Siddiqui. Thank you, Gaurav and Kenny, for the clarification. I just need one more clarification from the EC side. I, as a member and a community member as well, I do absolutely support providing RPKI services or the services APNIC offers to the legacy space holders. Just if you can clarify that once if these resources go into reserved pool, they will not be added into AS0 TEL, because that is a counterproductive. Yes, AS0 TEL is for information only at the moment, but there are still around 200 networks which are pulling that information. That may impact the services. If the intention is not to impact the services and provide additional services, then I would request EC to make that clear that those resources will even be marked as reserve, will not be added to the AS0 TEL.
Thank you, FTAB. Please.
Yeah, my name is Hiroki Kawada from JPNIC, Japan Network Information Center.
Can you please talk closer to the mic?
Okay. Okay. My name is Hiroki Kawada from JPNIC, Japan Network Information Center. Our position is new. At first, our position is neutral, and I'd like to confirm to APNIC Secretariat when did APNIC start this project? I'd like to confirm APNIC Secretariat to start this project. Yeah, this contact project. Yes, when start?
So Vivek from APNIC. So we started reaching out to the custodians from February this year.
And I'd like to share our case, JPNIC case. We have many many historical resources, and we in the past we contacted each organization about 1,500 organizations, and we started 2004. We started the contact by email and telephone and postal mail and check other informations. And we finished contact project at 2010 during six years. Yeah, I personally think APNIC activities is too short. I want to extend this project at this term. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Please, and make it a bit quick because we've got another proposal that will be
no problem.
behind this one.
My name is Jorge from Truxco, and I just have two questions. The first one, you say contact. How to contact? I think you need to specify the way you will contact these people, because it's very wide. I mean, you say contact, but you need to specify. I suggest you specify the way you will contact. The second, I suggest to do a digital marketing about social networks from the APNIC, that you will make this because nobody knows. So if you are going to apply, you will request the people to contact you. I suggest you do it by social networks from your, the social networks for APNIC. So you will have, because it looks like weird. If you want to contact them or you want to take the resources. So I just suggest you make that invitation. That's the only thing I wanted to tell you.
Using social networks is a way of contacting people. So yeah, it works.
Thank you.
Paul, please.
Just a clarification from my side. The proposal is not doing the contact thing. That's already the easy resolution, right? So the proposal is not changing that. And also responding to the previous comment from AFTA, if I recall correctly, Vivek already mentioned in the mailing list, in the SIG policy list, that yes, when they are in the reserved status, they will be placed also in the AS0, if I recall correctly.
Paul Wilson here. I'm a member of the APNIC EC, and a question was directed to the EC earlier, so I think I can answer that. Also having the operational experience, and sorry for the back chat before, but I was trying to clarify just a couple of answers here. The decision is that resources that are that do not follow, that do not comply with this decision, they will be revoked. That means that the whois and reverse DNS and RDAP services will be taken out. The addresses will go into reserve status, which is necessary to stop them from being reallocated, because we certainly don't want them to be reallocated. The AS0 policy says that when a resource is reserved, it should go into AS0. So we actually don't really have a choice about that. It goes into AS0. But just to repeat what was said before, Secretariat will make every effort available to contact the holder. So that's by any and every means we can, including social media, including the upstreams for routed resources, including company searches, etc. So every means available. And while that process is still going on, including if we are in a discussion, an ongoing discussion with the resource holder, there's no way that we will put those resources into reserved status. And that includes if the resource is routed, we will make every effort to contact through the upstream, through the peers, to find that resource holder, and it will not go into reserved status while that process is going on. There's an edge case possible where way down the track, a resource is still routed. We have never not been able to access, to contact the holder. What to do in that case? We might reserve the resource at that point in order to uncover the holder. But that I think is a real edge case, because in every other case, we expect to be able to contact the holders. Thank you.
We're going to take one last comment. Sorry, because we are already running late.
Parhar from ISPI.
That wrong statement from Paul, so I need to clarify that.
After hearing what Jody has said in his proposal and what Gaurav clarifications he has given as to what the EC based this decision, I find that there are two points. EC based its decision to ensure that people who have these resources, they are provided other services, but only if they get into a kind of an agreement. And as and when they get an agreement, their resources are provided, and but at no point they are looking at redelegation of these resources. While on the other end, what Jody is promising, or in his proposal, what he's bringing out is a delegation of these resources, getting them into APNIC and redelegation. Now, these are two very separate things, two separate thought processes. So, Jody, after hearing what Gaurav as EC chair has said, what are your views now on your proposal?
There is no difference. I think we are talking about the same. The difference is that what the EC has done is making them into reserved status, but not defining what to do after that in case of there is no contact. Okay, so what we are ensuring with the proposal is that after 1 year, they can be redelegated. Otherwise, they cannot be redelegated. That's the difference of the proposal, or the difference that the proposal is making.
Thank you, Jody. So Aftab, you had a comment?
Yeah, just to clarify quickly, Aftab Siddiqui here. As Paul mentioned that once the legacy has to be, they will put it in the reserve status, then it has to be put in the A0 tel. As if there are only two statuses, either available or reserved, which is absolutely incorrect. There's a third status called quarantine. Resources can go into quarantine, and the A0 tel says you don't have to put a quarantine in the A0 tel. Only reserved and available has to go into the A0 tel. So that is quite misleading. You can, but that's up to EC to decide whether to put recovered legacy space, which you haven't been contacted for at least an year before you put in the AS0 tell. And that part is not being discussed in the policy. My only request to EC, it is just EC can make that decision. Once you are not able to contact these people, put it in a quarantine status for at least another year. Do not put in AS0 tell. You are actually creating a bigger problem for the AS0 tell as saying, well, never ever use the AS0 tell. That's going to happen. So we have made an effort to create something. And if you put these in reserve and ultimately after 7 days, they go into the AS0 tell, that is counterproductive. You can still put in quarantine. That is my only request to EC. There is a third status.
Oh, thank you, Aftab. So we've got one last, and it's the last one, comment from Gaurav, please.
Thanks, Bertha. I think it's been quite a good discussion right now on this topic. I think we see the point of both Jody and Aftab here. One thing we do need to make clear that the EC policy or EC decisions can be changed. But once you make a policy and tighten it, we can't walk back from that. Right? And in this case, I think we are trying to reinforce or kind of straitjacket is the term I use. A EC decision that is meant to help with providing additional services to legacy holders into kind of cornering them into making it reserved, and so pretty much taking it to a state where we are saying, hey, we might take this away from you and then start reallocating to others. I think that actually sets a bad precedence in this particular case. But what Aftab said earlier, and I think that is the intent, maybe the terminology there might have been a bit, could have been better on the EC resolution, is if something is still getting routed or we can't get hold of someone, then we will wait as long as possible to before that goes into the free pool. Even though the EC decisions happened earlier in the year, this was a topic in the survey 2 years ago. So we've been doing some homework around it. And I think in that range, we may have not paid attention to what impact the last policy proposal on TAL0 or AS0 would make in this. So I think we take that feedback quite constructively from Aftab to hold it off. And I think it is also going to be a practical thing is, okay, out of the number of resources we have, what percentage of that gets completely uncontactable and, or in other words, lost, right? And then we'll probably have to determine at that time whether it is worthwhile or whether it is in the interest of APNIC as a whole to actually pursue those. Right? And there are use cases where it could be used somewhere inside somebody's network, and it may not be visible on the internet. And at that point, if that space goes on AS0, maybe it won't cause any harm because nobody can then squat on it, because that is the common thing we've seen with addresses that are used for internal purposes. We still see people squatting on them on the internet, and that creates another set of problems. So maybe that is, if it goes to AS0, it won't be visible on the internet until somebody contacts us. And I think that is a much better situation to be in than basically saying, you're gonna have to be a member of us, because there are organizations within even our region who are unlikely to ever be members because they cannot sign a contract with the external agencies or organizations. We've seen that happen quite a bit. So I think that is where we are. I think the discussion has been very good, and we take the feedback very positively. Thank you.
Gaurav. So we'll now call for consensus, and as no one expressed strong opposition on Zoom, if someone clicks on strong opposition, it will not be taken into account. So as a reminder, this is not a vote. And if you strongly oppose this proposal, you would have to step up and explain why, and be very quick because we don't have the time. So those in in strongly approval of this proposal, please raise your hand. That's easy. Those supporting this proposal, please raise your hand. Those neutral to this proposal, please raise your hand. Those opposing this proposal, please raise your hand. Oh, thank you. And those strongly opposing this proposal? And Aftab did express himself, so we don't need to do it again. Thank you very much. We'll get back to you shortly. So, Jordi, this proposal did not reach consensus. And do you want to drop it or put it back on the mailing list for amendments?
I think we need to give a thought on that. So probably we'll have some new inputs in the list and decide afterwards. So at the moment, I will not drop it.
Thank you, Jordi. So we'll carry on with the next proposal. Prop 148, leasing of resources is not acceptable. Jordi, please, and if you can be a bit quick. Thank you.
Yeah, I will try. You are presenting the slides? Yes. Okay, next one, please. Okay, just to be very, very short, I am not going to read the text. I just want to stress that the intent of this proposal is not to change current policies, and that's why the title of the proposal has clarification wording in the beginning, okay? So the point is that current APNIC policies allocate and assign resources according to the need, and leasing is not accepted as a justification of the need. That's the basis of this proposal, and we are not changing that. We are just making sure that the text is clear and honest, and anyone willing to do leasing without a connectivity service or an equivalent accepted service by the APNIC justification knows that this is not valid, okay? Next one, please. I can skip that one as well to be shorter. Next one. So again, the point of the policy is to add clarity to the actual situation. If you are leasing and you provide leasing as a justification, it will not be accepted. So that also means that you cannot change, according to existing policies, the use of the resources without checking which APNIC. Next one, please. There are difference across the regions. There are also similar proposals under discussion in LACNIC and ARIN. AFRINIC, for example, and LACNIC already confirmed that leasing is not valid for justification, the same as APNIC. Next one, please. So the proposed solution is a new section, which is 5.8, leasing of internet number resources. And what we are saying here is that in the case of internet number resources delegated by APNIC or any NIR, the justification of the need implies the need to use on their own infrastructure or and or network connectivity services provided directly to customers. This is existing text in the current policies. It's not a change. As a result, any form of IP address leasing is not accepted, and those not justify the need. I am going to skip some of the text just for brevity. APNIC might proactively investigate those cases and also initiate the investigation in case of reports by means of a form, emails, or other means developed by APNIC. If any form of leasing, regardless of when the delegation has been issued, is confirmed by the investigation, it will be considered a policy violation, and revocation might apply against any account holder who are leasing or using them for any purposes not specified in the initial request. So just to stress it, we are not changing the current policies. We are just saying that this is already part of the existing situation, and we want to make it very clear. And we have one change that we added in the last version published a couple of days ago, which is a definition as suggested in the discussion in the mailing list about leasing. And leasing is defined as providing internet number resources for a price, never mind is paid in any form or even for free, when not tied to a direct connectivity service. And again, this is a very important clarification from the previous version, or any other APNIC accepted justification of the need. So with this, we believe we are resolving all the questions raised in the mailing list, because it's clear that we are not changing the intent from what is current policies. Okay, next one, please. So advantages, fulfilling the objective and making the policy clear. So again, we are not changing what the current policies say. We are just making it very clear, very honest. Next one, please. We don't see disadvantages or impact on resource holders. And I think there is one more slide for references in other regions. And that's all from my side. Sorry to be so quick, but I think the discussion here may be very important.
Thank you, Jordi. So we've got a lot of talking on the mailing list for this proposal. We'll try to make it quick because we are already run out of time. Aftab?
Okay. Aftab Siddiqui. Question for Jordi. Jordi, I asked this question on the mailing list as well. I haven't got the answer yet. According to the new definition, version 3, if I'm not mistaken, you have sent of which clarifies the definition of leasing. Can you tell me, according to that definition, 1.1.1.0/24 is leasing or not?
The point here after is what that prefix that you mentioned is doing is according to the justified need as for the current policies, because we don't change that. So any example that you put in the table, you don't look into our policy, you look into the existing policies. We are not changing that.
That is the fundamental problem I have with the definition of the leasing. The definition you have defined, put 1.1.1.0/24 in the leasing category, which we all know, probably the global audience knows that it is not. And that is the only problem I have. I do support your intent. I do support this is not a good idea for leasing, but the way we are trying to corner it in this policy, it is not the best use of the APNIC resource or APNIC secretariat, because they start chasing.
Why you think it's not part of the definition of leasing? Because that's the question, I think.
No, that was my question. It is the definition you have given, put 1.1.1.0/24 into leasing.
Why you think so?
sorry, a 1.1.1.0/24 does not provide connectivity services to me. And that is what the bolded line at the
No,
bottom.
no. But we added a definition that say any other APNIC accepted justification. Okay.
Jody, I think everybody here, and I'm exaggerating perhaps, but everybody here agrees with the intent. And we are all against commercial re-exploitation of number resources. The issue is that this is a highly wordy proposal which still has too many loopholes and counter examples. The intent, I think there's no doubting the intent of what you're trying to achieve, and we are all in sync. The moment you say any other APNIC accepted justification, we are in a circular argument, because the Secretariat even now could decide whatever any other APNIC accepted justification is. You say at one point, and we are on the mailing list, this has been going back and forth, and you have been helping to clarify. At some point we say we are not changing the policy. At other points we say we are changing it to make it clearer. At a third point, there will be no impact, but there will be an impact. Either APNIC Secretariat accepts leasing as a justification currently, in which case we're changing policy, but we are not, because you said any other justification, or APNIC does not accept leasing, in which case this is doing nothing at all, this proposal. This proposal, good proposal, I feel. I mean, that we are sticking it to the bad guys, but we are the bad guys.
No, the thing here is APNIC, any other APNIC accepted justification of the need is based on policies. It's not based on the decision of APNIC. It's based on existing policies. So they cannot reject a justification if it's acceptable because the policies.
So a quick question, sir. As your understanding of the Secretariat's implementation of the policies today, will the Secretariat today accept leasing as a justification? Yes, I'm not asking the Secretariat, I'm asking you. Do you think
no, will not. So according to the current policies, will not.
So what problem are we solving over the next half an hour?
We are making it clear, because many people don't understand that. And actually you asked the question. So for you, it's not even clear, right?
No, in my mind, it was clear till this proposal came onto the mailing list that it doesn't. And if you believe the Secretariat is also clear, it doesn't matter how unclear I am. Sunny will tell me, go jump.
May I intervene?
Yes,
Chair?
Amrita, please.
I am one of the co-proposers of this proposal. I think we agree on certain things that yes, as per the documents, leasing is not something which is accepted. It is not written in gold. We are just trying to kind of make it more clear for people. Regarding the definition, yes, we can always work to fine tune it, because I think what I understand from your question and what Aftab was mentioning is we need to relook at the definition and perhaps work with the community to come up with it. But in principle, we all agree that leasing is not something which APNIC supports. Thank you.
Parhar from ISPI. I do not know if this is something where when a problem doesn't exist, a problem is being made. Because the intent of the current APNIC policy is very clear. By now adding a definition, because in the definition, I'm not understanding what it means by even for free. See, you know, whenever we want to change some definitions of some very important terms or a very important part of policy, we have to be very clear with the intent. I agree with the intent. The earlier wording of the policy are very clear. When you add things like even for free, they have many unwarranted or unwanted consequences of which I'm not even aware of yet. You know, things like the government agencies have a number of these delegations which they keep giving to each other within themselves, right? Banking institutions, other institutions, I'm not very sure. So if that is, you know, we are trying to get a policy and suddenly things, you know, get stuck, I mean, it's going to be terrible. So I think we need to think on this. I think what the co-proposer Amrita has just said, that you need to rethink on this whole the definition before it is finalized, because I don't find it satisfactory at this point of time.
Thank you. We've got
The reason we added the even for free is because because we submitted this policy in other regions. There was a comment in another region from the staff saying that what happens if you are doing a leasing and doing it for free is still a leasing, right? So we added this clarification for that to respond to that specific point.
Thank you, Jordi. We've got Gaurav from Zoom who has a comment. Gaurav, please.
Hey, thanks, Chair. Just one comment first of all is people in the room are not introducing themselves, so it's hard for those here to follow who is speaking. So that if the chairs could enforce that, that would be appreciated. The other one is a question for the proposers here. How do you think this is going to be enforced? Because you can write a policy, but then it creates undue work, or we don't know. I'm trying to think of it is, if this was going into enforcement, how do you see this getting enforced? Like, are we going to ask for confidential paperwork? And like Parhar said, if companies have agreement that we have no purview to look for, where do you think this takes us into? Because
Well,
I think it has to be along with the definition of leasing. I think that part of it is, you know, that is also very essential in this case.
We know that many parts of the policy manual are not easy to investigate or to enforce, but we need to try our best. I don't think this policy is different from that from the rest of the manual. When there is any kind of abuse,
I tend to disagree, because I think when a policy is passed by the community, in case of APNIC, the Secretariat does everything that is to his point to actually comply with it. And when we have run into a situation where it does not comply, generally the EC will send it back saying that, hey, there is no way we can comply with this, or there is a problem with this. And we have had to do that once or twice. And so that, you know, that's why I'm asking if this policy is passed, and I'm thinking, okay, how would we comply with this policy? And there's no best effort here, because once you make a policy, it is taken as the guiding principle, right? And we can't really say, here is this policy, but we are only going to do our best to try to enforce it, because that probably won't be a good idea either. Because that basically creates a space for us to create policies that we are not serious about enforcing. So I think part of this would be to basically define exactly how you see this working out, and what criteria should APNIC use to determine in a very, specific way, to make it very specific so that it can actually be implemented.
But that's the reason we have the analysis impact that didn't mention that they need something else. Otherwise, we will have work it out on that.
Yeah, that is what we need from you, and and I think that's still going to be needed. Otherwise, I see this as a policy that is best intentions, but not a lot of teeth.
Thank you, Aftab. One comment from the floor.
Yes. First, me. Okay. My name is Jorge Varela from Truxco. I have a question. You said about even for free. Can you explain me that, Jordi?
Yes, the point was raised in another region, which is a similar proposal, which is an equivalent proposal, and is that sometimes the resources can be leased for free or under the table, which is a different price or different service or something like that, just to challenge the policy. So that was the reason to add even for free.
Okay. I'm not agree because there is a lack of IPv4. If you talk about IPv6, there's no problem. You can go to APNIC and get more IPs. But with IPv4, there are some services, companies, or governments that need the IPs. So I don't consider to add, even for free, is a good way to explain it. I mean, if you make money with that, of course, it's not possible. But I mean, sometimes governments, small governments, need the IPs. And how can they work for that? I mean, if you talk about IPv6, there's no problem. I mean, I'm in agree with that. But if you talk about IPv4, I'm not agree with that solution.
Again, you are missing, I believe, that the existing policies already say that you cannot do leasing. They don't say if for free or for a price. This is just a clarification. If a government today is getting resources for free as a leasing, is forbidden according to the current policies. This don't change it.
But that is not leasing. I mean, not.
Is leasing even if you don't charge for it. You are providing some addresses to someone else, and this is against the existing policies.
Chairs, may I clarify? I'll just take a minute. What you are suggesting, sir, is something which is out of the realm of this policy proposal. What we're talking about is IPv4 allocations. It doesn't unfortunately fall under this. That's a separate thing which perhaps you have to speak to the RIRs. That we are just trying to define that any form of leasing is not something which is acceptable. How IPv4 is allocated or with whom it is, whether they're giving it free, is not something under the realm of this policy proposal, right?
Okay.
I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so no further comments for this one. There's a Ching Heng, you have something on a Zoom chat?
There's Luncha has Dashana has one comment. My concern about unsymmetric compliance in different regions. Just one comment here.
I cannot really understand that.
Nor do I. Sorry. Oh well. Yeah, sorry. No, I don't get it. So we will now call for.
I can read it if you want me to, what it says. Yes.
Yes, please.
It from Darshana's comment online. My concern about unsymmetrical compliances in different regions. That's all it says.
Okay, so that doesn't explain what it means, but okay.
Yeah, the problem was not reading it, was understanding the meaning.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, we will call for consensus now. And as a reminder, this is not a vote. And because we are running way out of time, those who didn't express themselves, please, if you don't support this proposal, try to avoid strong opposition. Thank you. So those strongly supporting this proposal, please raise your hand. Thank you. Those supporting this proposal, please raise your hand. Thank you. Those neutral to this proposal? Those in opposition to this proposal, please raise your hand. Those strongly opposing this proposal, please raise your hand. Good. Thank you. I'll get back to you very shortly. This proposal did not reach consensus at the OPM. Thank you, Jody. I'll guess.
If I can say something very quickly.
Yes, please.
We will try to work out in a new version. We will work in the mailing list towards that. But I want to stress something so nobody gets confused. Having not reached consensus does not mean that leasing is allowed, because that's already in the existing policies. I think that's very important to clarify.
Yep, and everybody should know that. Thank you very much, Sunny. Thank you all for your participation, and keep following the mailing list for more fun. And sorry for keeping you away from the lunch. You can now go in peace. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
There's a million of those who won't let us speak, but they're not gonna see me bleed, 'cause baby, I got you. I've been beaten to the ground, dragged across the dirt. I've been scared to live, 'cause some people never learn. But they're not gonna watch me burn, 'cause baby, I got you. It's a movie. A better life is a dancing underneath the disco light. They can try, but they can never take me down. Ooh. 'Cause I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid to love, not afraid to love you. I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid to love, not afraid to love you. They always bring all the lonely, but with you here, nothing can scare me. I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid to love, not afraid to love you. I will tell them what I'm feeling forevermore. I don't care about the I wanna wake up in the morning with someone new. I wanna do the things they say we shouldn't do. I wanna wake up in the morning with someone new. Live life like it's a prison, break the rules. I wanna wake up in the morning. Let's catch my friends. I'm feeling stuck, and I don't know which way to run. I'm on a settled path, a one-way road, and I can't take it anymore. I started, I can't stop it, stop it, stop it. I'm done with feeling lonely, lonely, lonely. I know there's more than working, working, working. So go ahead and show me now. I wanna wake up in the morning with someone new. I wanna do the things they say we shouldn't do. I wanna wake up in the morning with someone new. Live life like it's a prison, break the rules. I wanna wake up in the I just wanna dance and lose control. Get me to London or Tokyo. My head's within the clouds, my body feels the pulse. My feet are saying round and round we go. Something's in the air. I can feel it everywhere. Every color seems to bloom, and there's light in every room. Now they're looking up, I can see it in your eyes that lately it's been tough. But now the sun is rising, and we're new people. Let's be new people.
Check 1 2 1 2 1 1 2 check 1 2 1 2 check 1 next 2 check 1 2 1 2 check 1 2 check 1 2 1 2 1 2 check. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. Check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Check. 1, 1, 2. Check. 1, 2. Check. 1, 2. Check. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 1. 2. Check. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Check. 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay, thank you. Okay, 2.
Show me something I haven't seen before. Cause I'm tired of the same boats, the same shore. It's time, my friend, to leave this hell behind us. We got everything we need to make a change. I can't keep pretending I'm right where I wanna be. I'm hopelessly in need of better days. Cause I'm too young to face the end, but I'm old enough to start again. And I still got time. Since I was a child, when I was young and wild, nobody could ever tell me there was nothing to overwhelm me. I thought I was cool when I left school. Took some time for me to realize I don't need this disguise. Baby, come, let's move on. 'Cause if I show my love and dance through the night in neon lights, love everybody, my mind is set free and I'll be me. Then I met you, took me by the hand and showed me the world. Everywhere I was hurled, like flowers we grew, and never fell through. Like raindrops we were falling, now I hear them calling. Baby, come, let's move on. 'Cause if I show my love and dance through the night in neon lights, love everybody, take a chance, take it easy, let's roll the dice. Show my love and dance through the night in neon lights, love everybody, my mind is set free and I'll be me. I'll be me. I'll be me.
Making an exit, holding on to treasures, lusting after pleasures. I become addicted to this feeling under pressure. I get plenty loot these days, I swear I never let up. It's embedded in my genetics, like nice clothes and seeing where the night goes. Even when the lights go, I just get like light bulbs. Attempted to right wrongs, I carry a light load. I travel the right roads, I see how the dice roll. I talk to here, tell it how I'm doing. Again on the street, I want to take it in. I'm here. Watch your flock of kids. I don't want to stand risk. I just take the innocent. That's when we would play that. Outside the church, out in the field, they pull it off and kick in. I'm talking to kick that and we talk to the playing the bigger team on the bigger players. Because I'm in the class, I feel like the bigger team, it was really everything. There was more minutes here. I'm finished. So they kick the chip. Switch out them in this. Feel that people who've been dealing with let's get brought to 50 here. Because back then I wasn't so I think here to that you like I'm daily feeling thing. But now I'm thinking that you had a distant future like seasons always disappear. Believe in Tuesday and Wednesday. It's been a few days since we had FaceTime. I was patient. I got it Thursday. All day. I need a pretty day until I on Tuesday and Wednesday. It's been a few days since we had FaceTime. I was patient. I got it Thursday. All day. I need a pretty day. I'm calling because we can check it out. Let's talk about it because let's call it because I've been there. I'm not complaining. My life is barely cleaning. My daddy made it almost like my mom didn't know complaining. Homies trying to block, but just tell me that I make it. I made it through the classes out with that graduation. I read it, graduation, but my life did not want me to think that I would not change. That's the motivation. Now it's more or less motivation. That's by what I'm making. No, it's nice to make you make it. Also, any stranger practice like to say relate me. No, I don't need the credit. I just want to see you make it so out of down. But if it's really someone to talk, I'm not just trying to leave my mark and find out.
I just wanna see you live life. You just wanna lay down like you already forgot about the price. If they're charging you for a night, yeah, cashing on you be jumping at first. If I will catch you now, I know you know I'm still in your thirst. Lay your eyes on some real nice. Go too hard a couple of times. I know one. Let's see the light. Turn around. You turn to the light. What's your mind? All this time. I got the thing. Changing your mind. Please keep pushing. You're not mine. Come on, I'm go. Turn to the light. What's your mind? Go too hard, but I turn. Yeah, I know I'll get to that same life. That's on the turn. You turn to the light. I got the thing. Changing your mind. Be patient in your mind. I'm one longer. You turn to the light.
Got all this songs, but I couldn't find them. I don't blame myself, couldn't see. They drag you in just to leave you feeling stupid. Hey, don't call me up, I'm not your so on the radio. Don't wanna hear it's too late for a podcast. Lately I've realized that goes around, comes back around. What goes around, comes back around. You know very hard to make excuses. It's been hard to pursue one thing. They will never change, no matter how hard you try. Hey, don't call me up, I know you know what you did, so on the radio. Don't wanna hear it say for fast. Lately I've realized that what goes around comes back around. What goes around comes back around. pretty on the outside, but the eyes are really inside. You can never tell at the first glance. They will never say the last things. Goes around, comes back around. Don't baby, don't end. Learn how I love to be around you. Let's get it to the chase. Yeah, I'm so happy that I found you. Oh, then I'm so oh, how I love to be around you. Take me somewhere we can be together. Oh, how I love to be around you. Oh, how I love to be around you. You can show me how to move, 'cause I don't wanna be sitting alone. I don't care what road you choose. Don't wanna go back to who I was before. And I know that you might know right. I can tell by the look in your eyes. Don't wanna play it cool, I give it straight from the heart. Oh, how I love to be around you. We got something better than the others. We can fly higher than an eagle. Take me somewhere we can be together. Oh, how I love to be around you. Oh, how I love to be around you. Oh, how I love to be around you. Oh, we got something better than the others. We can fly higher than an eagle. Take me somewhere we can be together. Oh, how I love to be around you. Wanna wake up in the morning.